how do you say it, in dog form? I don't know. And now the dog's outside are barking, so he's distracted.
Sure. I love that you named your dog Guinness.
We did. We had to like encapsulate some of our favorite things from our honeymoon, and we're like, well, let's name him after an Irish beer. Why not?
It's such a good dog name.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
been perfect for him because he's a little dapper dude.
Yeah, and nobody else has it as a name for their dog.
Yeah,
Is
we've
there?
not found anyone else. You are special, aren't you? Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
So as Jesse and I were talking about right before we went live, it's been a hot second since she and I did a cocktail hour together, or
It just talked.
even just talked at all. So this should be a very fun cocktail hour because the two of us get to genuinely catch up um,
Yeah.
about everything that's been going on. Because oh my gosh, the last like 4 weeks, craziness, just insane.
Absolutely, which apparently have been impacting your sleep cycles.
I have a I yeah, I got so behind this morning because I had been sleeping so poorly during the week, the not the day, not the night of the election, the week of the election, because it ended up dragging on for so long.
There was a perfect meme of it. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like, from the makers of the month long, or no, the year long march is now the week of Tuesdays.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it just felt like a yeah, a recurring nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. Every morning I would immediately like grab my phone and I'd open it up to see like did they call it? Like who sent results in? And it would just be like the winner is yet uncalled, like, and like, there's still
Yeah.
votes. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. It was super. I don't think there's been one this long, in at least that I can remember,
No.
that's gone on like this. I mean, we've had like a couple days maybe, or like you know, I just think of like, was it 2004? I think the 2004 election was probably like the most drawn out, and it wasn't anywhere near this.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite thing to lighten everything up was all the Nevada memes.
Oh, there were
There were so many good ones.
yeah. The waiting for Godot one was particularly marvelous.
That one got me. That one got me.
And then the one of my friends like had posted one that was about Pennsylvania, and it was the old meme about coming in 15 minutes late with Starbucks. Like that,
Yes.
that was
Yes.
Pennsylvania. Like running in,
Yep.
being 15 minutes late with Starbucks. Like, sorry guys, I stopped along the way.
I don't know if you're are you an Office fan? Do you do The Office? Okay, so there was one of my favorite ones was Idris Alba, when he's like the
Yes.
one of the managing directors. He's like, "Show me your numbers," with his real serious man face. And then there is John Krasinski as Jim down below in a dopey Santa hat, going like, "What do you mean?" Yeah, that one was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah,
And he is Nevada.
the internet went hog wild the week of the election. I think partly because people were glued to their screens, so it makes
Oh yeah.
there was this proliferation of amazing memes because everyone was on their devices anyway, just constantly
Hmm.
checking for updates.
Oh yeah. I tried not to do it too much, but I definitely was on it more than I normally would be, for sure.
Yeah,
My phone was like, "You're up 40 minutes a day." I'm like, "Don't judge me. It's important. Don't judge me, phone."
I'm up 40 minutes a day to find out if the next 4 years of my life are
Yeah, how it's impacted.
um and it was, Jeremy and I talked the last cocktail hour, which was we recorded a week ago, about how that episode was the calm before the storm, right? It was the Monday night
Hmm.
election Tuesday, and we were like, this is going to age either very well or very poorly. This is like the time capsule cocktail hours episode,
Right.
whereas this one is like,
The aftermath.
this is the aftermath. This is us, like, well, I don't know about you, I feel like I'm just exhaling for the first time in, I don't know, 4 years. um so it's just been a like yesterday and last night, yeah, I should say yesterday post results and last night, there was this extraordinary sense of decompression. Like it was like coming off of an adrenaline high. I just felt like I was really like, and not in a bad way necessarily, but
Yeah.
I did feel like there was some sort of pressure on my chest that was like punctured, and it was just,
You can breathe again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think for me, it's just been nice to have some kind of resolve, even though I know like it's not over,
right.
but like there's still some questions in the air. But it's just nice to have some decision made and some information there. Yeah, that's been really nice.
And you were out of town last weekend.
I was out of town when all this happened, because we went out of town to meet up with some friends up at Lake Lure in the mountains, just a few friends, mostly people like Joel went to college with and their wives, and we've all kind of gotten pretty close over the decade since he's graduated almost now. But oh, not quite a decade. I'm making him a little too old, but but anyway, yeah. So we were up in this little mountain house that actually we were watching football, and there were some people in our group that were very invested in whatever football game was on. They were a little cranky that their show got interrupted, but it was very interesting to like be in the room with like so many people with different opinions, I think, during that time, and just to see, just the different emotions going through the room was kind of neat. Because I think normally it's just been around my family, and I know how they think and what they believe, and so that was kind of cool to see some different opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was,
because we're a very purple state.
sure. Yeah, we're not. Oh, we're not.
Yeah.
Or I should say, there's a concentration of blue around Portland that is so blue it's almost black, and then the rest of the state is like red, but hardly.
Little flecks.
So it's very,
Yeah.
It's faint red.
Yeah, I feel like that's what you expect from a lot of those like western states.
Yeah. But it's, I did wake up this morning realizing this is the first morning I've woken up in 6 days where the first thing I've done has not been grab my phone and check, AP or CNN. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm in 6 days. Like, that is just even realizing that, even waking up and realizing that, oh, I don't need to grab my phone, was like,
right,
kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about again before we went live, there was a proliferation of some extraordinary memes the week of the counting of the votes. Some of the best memes I've ever seen came out of.
There were some real winners.
Yeah.
Some real winners.
Truly. Especially about Nevada.
Nevada definitely was like peak meme.
Mm-hmm.
Like it will go on for centuries, I think.
Totally. My best friend who lives and works in Japan is from Nevada. Of course, she's voting massively absentee. She's in a whole other country, a whole other hemisphere.
Yeah.
But she sent me so many because she was constantly messaging her friends who are still in Nevada.
Yeah.
And, just all of them were like, yeah, this, late to every party, really late to this one. So yeah, it's been a really crazy week. It's been like a roller coaster of a week. And now it's November. We're into,
which is nuts.
Yeah.
After like the century of March, we are finally in November.
I know. So true. And I think because there wasn't really a Halloween.
Yeah.
I have lost all sense of like holiday season. Oh. I'm like, it's November, but what does that mean? How is that different? I mean, the weather's colder. We had a time change.
Yes, we did have a time change, which I personally love, aside from me driving home from work with the sun in my eyes. Other than that, I think it makes me sleep better. Yeah. I've been sleeping better, which is saying a lot for me, who typically does not sleep well.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. Hey, at least your sleep pills work for you, apparently. I can't find one that does
They
anything
work
for me.
they
So,
do well.
yeah.
Why I take them
Yeah.
sparingly. I lost like 4 hours of my day this morning.
It happens.
But I needed it. Like the thing I thought after the initial panic of, oh my god, I'm gonna be late for my 11:30 Zoom appointment was, wow, I really needed that REM cycle. My body like clearly needed it.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best things about this vacation we took was we had like zero schedule. Like we woke up on Saturday morning and made breakfast leisurely, and then we were watching some Bear Grylls show with surviving in the wilderness, and like the guys went outside and were hanging out, and all the girls fell asleep on the couch watching Bear Grylls and just took a lovely nap. And
Perfect.
and that was nap two of the trip because Friday I took a nap watching Criminal Minds with a friend. It was great.
That's awesome.
I got some naps in, and
That's a
yeah,
vacation time well spent, as far as I'm concerned.
it was. What stunk was like Joel and I both came down with like a really minor cold we picked up from my niece,
Ooh,
and so it made us extra sleepy. And
sure.
and then today was like really weird because I'm sick, they don't want me in the office, so I had to run pick up stuff so I could do work at home, and then did work at home. So it's been a really like lazy work day. It's been kind of beautiful. It's one of the beautiful things of COVID is you get to work from home when you're sick.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the rest of it sucks, but yeah,
Not that anyone wants to work when they're sick, but
no, yeah,
do it from the comfort of your own bed if you want to.
yes, yeah. Thankfully, I don't really feel bad. It's more of a precaution at this point, just because there's still some congestion. But
For sure.
ugh,
So,
darn cute babies.
all their fault.
It is all her fault.
Free dishes.
They are.
Um, One of the things we're going to talk about today is Knight's Tale, because now that
Aw,
it's inexplicably November, we have a release coming out in about a week, November 13th.
13th. It's
Dropping,
so soon.
I know,
Like 4 days.
4 days, not a week, half a week. We're going to be dropping a live stream um, that is it was a recorded performance of Knight's Tale, which is Shakespeare's Two Noble Kinsmen. We just called it Knight's Tale. It was in rehearsals much earlier in 2020, in the spring of 2020,
Yeah.
right when COVID shut everything down. And so the actors pivoted really quickly and prepared the show for a filming. And then we took that recording and cleaned it up, and we're going to be releasing it so that you can see what the Knight's Tale crew was working on before they were kind of robbed of their performance run. Jessie played a couple of integral parts in Knight's Tale, and so I just want you to have the chance to chat about it a bit, because I don't think everyone is familiar with Two Noble Kinsmen. It's one of the more your
Yeah, it's definitely one I had not read before I was asked to work on this. I was brought in as stage manager initially. And so that was like my initial role because I was doing that. And then I had a couple small roles in Midsummer Night's Dream, which was kind of like going on a little bit at the same time, a little crossover there. So that was manageable. Yeah, I could memorize a few lines and then show up for the next rehearsal and be on book. And then when COVID hit, we had several people with like personal things happen, so they had to drop out. Or when we decided we were going to do like very small group in-person rehearsals, once everything kind of moved that we could do that. Some people were like, I'm not okay with that. And that was totally understandable. But that meant we had to place some really fun shifting on how to get parts reassigned. And some of that meant bringing in people who were not initially in the show. David Hoyer is one of those. He played Snug in Midsummer, if you've listened to that recording yet. But he's usually like our TD, our technical director, and does a lot of really awesome construction stuff. But he came in and like graciously took on some roles, and the rest of the cast graciously took on a bunch of extra roles. And I stepped into one of the main roles, which I definitely did not anticipate because Up to this point, my Shakespeare acting has been very minimal. Like typically, I only have like a few little small parts, and this was like chunky monologues. So I played, I forget my, I played Palamon, who is one of the two noble kinsmen. He is one of two cousins who basically get imprisoned by this their rival country. They are prisoners of war, and basically we escape. Or yeah, so it's this crazy show, and we have this real big bout of jealousy over this princess of this town and or of the country, and yeah, it's really an insane show. It's kind of dark at times, but also very funny at others. Um, and we got to do a little stage combat, which I have never done.
Wow.
So that was fun. Um, even though I couldn't do a lot of it because I hadn't had any training, and we nixed a lot of it. It was really fun. I was really thankful we were recording it and not doing it live,
Sure.
because that definitely helped with some of that memorization bit.
How much time?
Sorry.
How much time did you have? Wow, my tongue is really orange.
Sorry, my husband is trying to call me, even though I like
Come
tell
on,
him
Joel.
Mondays at 5 are podcasting. He's like making a frowny face at me because I can't talk. So he'll just have to wait. Yeah, so I think we started rehearsals for that like the end of April, which we pushed back because I think we were supposed to start it earlier. And because of all the uncertainty of what we were even going to do, it ended up starting a little later. And then we wrapped up. I think we filmed like the first week of June. So we had a decent chunk, but it was a lot of bouncing around and
Yeah.
changes during that process. But it was an adventure.
And you were still stage managing.
I was still stage managing, which was very fun. It's very interesting to try and be on book for people when you're also trying to be off book yourself. So thankfully, we had a couple of our green tea kids who were David's children. Actually, they came in to some of our in-person rehearsals once we were really serious about being off book and would help read. So that was a lifesaver because I definitely could not have done that otherwise.
Yeah. What was it like tackling a big Shakespeare role like that?
Oh my goodness, very challenging, I would say. But I liked it. Like I told Jeremy, I was like, I'm never stage managing and acting at the same time again. But I think it was a rewarding experience, especially to take on such a different character than I normally have. Normally, I play comedic roles. So it was a big challenge to play things seriously, and something that Jeremy, who kind of stepped in as director. We were supposed to have a different director, and Jeremy kind of stepped in. And we kind of took like a Renaissance directing style where other people in the group got to contribute as well, which was cool. But yeah, that was something he always stayed on my case about, was being honest. So it was definitely a challenge for me as an actor and a growing point for me as an actor.
Playing it honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm just so used to being more of a caricature character, and just being like a body actor, that I had to get my brain actually in the place as well.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. And yeah, I was playing a dude, so that wasn't very abnormal. I am normally playing a dude. That's
That
been
was very
happening
different.
since sixth
I
grade.
apparently cannot play men convincingly. Anytime I've ever wanted to, the director has been like, "We got to regender this female because you're not full."
Yeah, as a member of the IBTC, it's a frequent casting point.
Sure. Sure. The one thing we do have in common, actually, we both have lower voices.
Yeah, and I think that helps out as well with that point. I used to get in trouble with one of my directors in college because when I was playing like a child role, I would make it higher pitched. And she's like, Jessie, just use your voice. I was like, okay, Patch, I will. Sorry.
Yeah. It'll be really. I'm really excited to share it with the world. I'm excited that it was able to find a digital incarnation,
I'm
especially
excited to see it.
especially during the early months of COVID when everything was so chaotic and uncertain.
Yeah,
Had no time, and you had no time to prepare for that kind of pivot. I'm so glad that the Knight's Tale group was able to find a new way of sharing the play with the world.
absolutely. It took a lot of flexibility from everyone, and I'm just so grateful we had such a flexible cast. And I'm really excited to see it because I know I've had access to it, but I've like purposefully decided to wait and be surprised, and like maybe watch it with my husband later, and we'll see how it goes
Yeah.
as I judge myself. Um,
And there's no audience watching you.
no, there's not. So it's just me looking at me.
Yeah.
Which is different. It was very different playing to a camera instead of
Yeah.
a person. Because I hadn't done any film work before other than me and my siblings making zombie movies. Um,
And no audience reactions.
right. And that was really hard because, especially when you get to those more comedic bits, like we play off of that, especially as a company. I think
Yeah.
Sweet Tea Shakespeare's really into that audience interaction piece. So it was a very different thing. But there were other things we got to kind of move into more, like we could be more subtle in our expressions a little bit because we were playing with camera, or we could redo things and try different things. And I'll be interested to see what we ended up keeping because we did try stuff so many different times, some scenes anyway. So that'll be cool.
That's something I sort of forget often with film actors, or I should say actors who do film work, film and TV,
Hmm.
is that it's often, if they are the type of person who will watch something they have been in, some actors won't do that. But if they are an actor who's been in a television show or a movie and they're willing to watch it back, it's often surprising to them
Yeah,
what was kept and what was cut. Not just the scenes that were cut, but which versions of which takes
right.
were ultimately used. Because they can be, those takes in film can be very different.
Oh yeah.
And it's not until the actors see it months or years later that they go, oh, they used that one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've been listening to I don't know if you listen to it, but Office Ladies podcast.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but they do such a wonderful job breaking down each episode, but also it's so fun to listen to them relive things and go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't really they didn't film this opener for this episode. They switched it." Or little bits like that, or they had to completely refilm this later and it's supposed to go into this other episode. And yeah, it's just really funny to see all those little moments, that you don't normally get to see. And I guess that's some perk of being in it. So
Yeah.
I'll have to do like another recap once I watch it, just because I know
I want to hear from you after you've seen it.
there will definitely be some fun moments. Like I know there was this really fun bit during I don't even know if I want to say it because then people will be looking for it. So I may save it for later. Yeah, there's a really fun stage combat bit that I'm really interested to see how it was resolved
Well,
with editing. But yeah. Yeah. And fun fact, this is like our first and so far only thing where we've used the new Playhouse. So especially if y'all have been donating for that, watch it because it was really fun to use that and play with it. It's like a playground almost.
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It was really interesting to learn to put it together, and it was much easier to tear down than it was to put up.
Yeah.
But I think that also comes with time because it was the first time we all set it up together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Very cool. Well, speaking of digital theater, which Sweet Tea is sort of immersed in for the 2020-2021 season, I realized you are one of the only people in my world, in my orbit, that knows the restoration comedy The Way of the World. And we have not talked since it was released.
We haven't.
Episode 4 dropped this morning at 10 a.m.
Woo! Oh,
10 a.m. my time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So 4 episodes are now on our podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. 4 of 5. The last one
ooh.
a week from today.
I will wait from a week till today to listen to it then, because I want to listen to them together.
But that's another thing we should talk about in a future cocktail hour.
Yeah.
You're like one of the couple people I know who actually knows the play and knows the story and understands that, or not understands, but like is familiar with that nutty
That's
text.
genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
fun. It'll be really fun.
It's so delightful. I'm excited to listen to it because I know it's so good. And I mean, y'all have been doing so much with the restoration stuff. Y'all just did the rover this past weekend. I want to hear how that went since I had no signal up in the mountains.
I forgive you for that. Yeah, we had our live Zoom performance for audiences on Saturday night, where we shared the rover with the world, and we had been working on that play for 7 weeks. So it was the end of an era. It really felt like a closing night because we had gotten so bonded and we had gotten so connected to the material, much like you do in a real show, when you're really actually rehearsing for several weeks. Um, and they had done all of their recordings already, so we'd captured all of the audio for the radio play, for the
Awesome.
upcoming audio drama. So we had all those files already, and on Saturday, all the actors just put on black and gold, and we had our masquerade masks at the ready,
Yes.
and we did a live Zoom performance of it, and it was so fun. There was a real sense of camaraderie, a real sense of release. I think because the election results had come out that morning, actors felt licensed to just like lose themselves entirely in the play and really hurl themselves headfirst and joyfully into the storytelling. Um, and I think the fact they didn't have to wear headphones this time, they
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about capturing Audacity files or recording their voices. They could just sort of set aside the tech elements and just perform, just play to the camera. Um, and I think it just felt very jubilant and very joyful. Um, it was really, really marvelous. And I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss working with that group of
Yeah.
people because we were together for so long. Um,
Yeah. How long did y'all rehearse? I know it was a while.
a month and a half, 7 weeks.
Month and a half. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now I literally at 11:30 this morning had my first post-production session with Wesley Johnson, who does our editing and our composing, all of our music
Oh, awesome.
compilation. We had our first session a couple of hours ago, and we started talking about how we're going to tackle turning all of these files. At this point, they're all disparate audio files. How we're going to turn
Right.
to our radio play that will be dropping on the Sweet Tea Shakespeare Hours podcast, just like Way of the World. This is the second in that restoration series. Anyone out there who's heard me talk recently might have heard me say the phrase Digital Restoration Series, or DRS, which is a multi-month all-digital exploration of restoration theater that I am working on and spearheading. Way of the World was the first radio play in that series. The Rover will be the second. On Sunday, this coming Sunday, 6 days from now, we start rehearsals for the third radio play. George Etheridge's The
Woohoo.
Man of Mode.
Which is one I'm not actually familiar with. So I'm excited about that one.
It's really fun. Really colorful characters. It's very like sleek. It's very stylish. The characters are really mean. Um, it's it very much is it feels very modern. Of all of the plays, I think The Rover has themes that are very modern. I think The Way of the World has
Hmm.
character psychology, character interiority that feels very modern. The Man of Mode, it's like the character's status in the world feels very modern. They all feel like sort of contemporary millionaires and billionaires in London, or like in any
Okay.
metropolis. They really do feel like the young elite, the young
Mm-hmm.
rich posse.
They're the Kardashians.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Nice.
The Kardashians, but in a London, in a New York, in a Milan, somewhere
Okay. Okay.
somewhere very stylish.
Yes.
Where there's a big emphasis on style. So that will be really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rover was just, it was really marvelous to share that story with audiences, most of whom were not familiar with the play, not familiar with the restoration. Um, and the actors just really got to lose themselves in the playing, which on Zoom, like I just count that as a victory in and of itself for actors to
Right.
be able to really just commit.
I mean, because it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard to do it in front of a screen. It's hard to do it without the energy and the waves from
Mm-hmm.
the non-verbal cues you get from a scene partner in a room. And that I think that there is a sense of celebration under everything. The Rover itself as a play is set in Naples, Italy during Mardi Gras, during the carnival. So, it's already a rock
Party feel.
kind of story. We had them fighting, all the sword fights were done with pens. So we had pens flashing in front of the screen. Everyone had their masquerade masks. There was live singing. And yeah, it was really fun.
Now, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I look forward to doing that with each of the upcoming restoration plays, of doing this sort of final one night only, like Zoom free for all.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh, what was I going to say? Oh, could they see the audience through Zoom? I don't know how y'all have been doing the lives.
Mm-hmm. So
That's cool. That's fun.
the audience, we invite them to turn off their camera and on audio, so
Mm-hmm.
to mute themselves during the performance. But we keep the chat open, and
Oh, fun.
we have a running commentary that audiences are welcome to participate in, where sometimes they're commenting on the action. I had one of my assistant stage managers, Emma Kelly, dropping dramaturgical information intermittently. But
That's
it's
fun.
a chance for audiences and actors, everyone involved, to comment on the story. So sometimes
Awesome.
someone would say oh, like that was so funny, or I had never, I didn't, I've heard of this moment. I didn't know it was from this play. Or, oh my gosh, they're fighting with pens. How absurd. And then the actors could respond oh, this is one of my favorite scenes to perform. Oh, I loved working with this person. I loved this about Afra Ben. I thought it was so cool that this line was so feminist, but it was written 350 years ago. So that chat kind of became our way of having the live engagement in real time. And then at the end of the show, we invited everyone, including the audience, to turn on their cameras. So all the actors, company members, creatives, and audience members switched on their cameras at the end. And we did sign language applause, virtual applause.
That's fun.
It was really fun. And then we had a talk back where people could ask us questions.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and so that was when there was more FaceTime. All the actors were on screen, all the audience members were on screen. But during the performance, we have the audiences enable a feature in Zoom called Hide Non-Video Participants.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, then you only ever see the floating boxes of people with their cameras turned on.
Right.
Actors and I had practiced and incorporated the conceit, basically, of turning on one's camera only when your character was on stage.
Uh-huh.
So for the audience, what they were able to watch then is scenes where the full company was on stage. They would see 16 boxes. But if there was a really intimate scene between two characters, they would only see those two people.
Oh, I love it. I did not know that was a feature you could use in Zoom. So that's super cool. And I love how we are learning, as a company, different ways to do the same things we were doing.
Yeah.
Just new ways to make that intimacy, but also to have that interaction with the audience. It's so wonderful.
It was really fun. So I look forward to having you see the recording, the Zoom recording.
Yeah, I'm excited. When will that drop? Do you know?
On the website, I'm guessing very soon, because it's complete.
Okay.
We have it in a Google Drive. It's just a matter of, I think, polishing it a bit, maybe adding an intro file that just explains the title, the playwright, when it was captured, and then we'll put it onto the website, so you'll be able to see it, just like Galatea, just like Devil's Charter, Spanish Tragedy. You'll be able to look at this and see the whole thing on our website.
I am sorry, my dog is losing his mind for some reason.
Guinness! Maybe that worked.
Nope. Somebody's out there. I don't know. I am sorry, Ashanti.
We love you, Ashanti.
It's probably my father-in-law because he likes to walk around my house. Who knows? I don't know how to mute Skype. I'm sure there's a way. Oh, it's microphone.
Add some realism. Lets us know
Some real
real
realism.
person, real place.
Yeah. I am at my house with my dog. He's a great guard dog.
How old is
He may be, he's 3. He may be little, but he is fierce. At least in bark.
Right.
I don't know that he's actually that fierce, but he can look scary.
He's very cute.
He is very cute. He's my baby.
So, when did you get married? What's your anniversary?
We got married July 23rd, 2016. We are coming up almost on 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Early congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's like, that must have been a beautiful wedding if it was that time of year.
It was very hot because I am a terrible person and made us get married in a like 260-year-old church that had no air conditioning. The reception was air conditioned though. But it was beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
We have like,
I want to see photos. I want to see what you wore.
oh yeah, well my dress is back here, but you know, you're not going to get the full effect. I don't have any photos hanging up, but let's see. My mother made it,
What?
but it's
Oh my
like
gosh, Jessie.
I'll have to show you some photos or maybe like figure out how to put them on the computer and share screen or something next time.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so elegant.
It's very like 1930s glamour, like low back, satin with chiffon, and I loved it. It was good.
Yo. Did you design it?
No, so actually my mom we went wedding dress shopping before, wedding dress pattern shopping before I was even engaged because it was one of those deals. But it's a Vogue pattern actually. And yeah, so we picked out like the fabric and the trims and stuff. But yeah, my mom made it. She's pretty boss.
That's amazing.
My wedding dress probably costs like $150, which I'm sure would be way more than that otherwise. I didn't. Yeah, I wore my hair like half up and ditched the veil. Did some like little pearly things in my hair.
Oh my gosh, the first time I see a wedding photo of yours, I'm definitely gonna cry. I'm gonna retroactively cry.
It was wonderful. I wouldn't have traded it. Yeah, it was great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're like a couple of weeks away from Thanksgiving.
Yeah, which is super exciting.
Insane.
Yeah. If you don't celebrate it, sorry. It's my favorite holiday because I get to spend time with my family and there's like absolutely no pressure to do anything other than be together and eat, which is one of my favorite things. That and it's like right around my birthday every year, and that's even better.
It is.
Yes, so I make it my birthday party. Even if everyone else doesn't know it, it's my secret birthday party.
Your birthday is so convenient for me because it's my parents' anniversary, so I'll never.
Oh, is it? Oh, sweet.
And it's the day after we're supposed to have a cocktail hour, so we'll do like
It is.
We'll do like an early birthday toast.
That'll be fun.
On the 23rd.
That'll be exciting. I look forward to it.
Yeah. So what is your like anything fun happen in November for you besides your birthday and Thanksgiving?
Oh yes. What the next thing I'm looking forward to is my husband Joel. He's in a band called Driscoll, Driskill. If you want to look him up, you can find him at I think it's driscollband.com or at driscollband. But they are like their self-described way is folk Americana, whatever. But they have a concert coming up at Dirtbag Ale in Hope Mills on November 20th, which is the Friday before my birthday. So I'm like also deciding that that's my birthday party as well. I'm having multiple birthday parties, and they're giving a concert just for me. They don't know it, but yeah, so that'll be super fun. I think they play from like 6 to 9 or something like that outside. So it'll be a good socially distant, fun event.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's
So if you live locally, come check them out because it'll be a lot of fun. Come say hi to me.
I gotta write this down. I gotta listen to some of their music.
Please do. They have like all their stuff is on Spotify. They have 2 albums on Spotify. YouTube is less helpful, which is annoying to me because I like to listen to things on YouTube. But yeah, they're on Pandora and Spotify and everything.
Cool. And what
Yeah.
instrument does Joel play?
Joel plays the drums. He's an excellent drummer.
Cool.
They are my favorite band, and I say that without bias. Maybe some bias, but I don't think so. I think it's actually accurate. But yeah, he plays drums. His friend JD from college plays guitar, and their friend Ethan play guitar and banjo.
Very cool.
So they're very cool. They're like kind of folksy, kind of bluegrassy country, rock, a little bit of everything.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. They're a delight,
As Jeremy would say.
as he would say. Yes. Or as they would say in, as the child would say in the new TV show I'm watching. I'm watching The Haunting of Bly Manor currently, and perfectly splendid.
Nice accent.
Thank you.
Perfectly splendid. On
Yeah.
Halloween, actually, I did a table reading on
Oh.
Zoom. We read Agatha Christie's Murder at the Vicarage.
Ooh,
We read the 1950s play based on her 1930 novel,
I love Agatha Christie.
and we were all heartily invited to do English accents.
Yes.
My British dialect, my RP British dialect was maligned and lampooned when I was in England.
Oh,
Because of course I was spending all my time around people who actually had authentic English accents.
right.
Anytime I whipped mine out as a graduate student, like, look, I can talk just like you, I would just get laughed at. So I have a big inferiority complex when it comes to my ability to do the
Aw.
British dialect, because the only people who really ever got to hear it were people who could tell it was fake.
Right.
But I was comforted by knowing, as I did the reading with everyone else, that when you're amongst Americans who are all endeavoring an English accent, you can just kind of
It's quite good.
subpar together. No one,
No one's the wiser.
no one's any the wiser. The mockery is definitely dialed down.
Mhm.
It was really fun. It was a fun way to spend Halloween reading that.
It's really fun.
Do you know Bryson David Hoff?
No.
Okay, so he's been in a lot of things. He was in Faustus. He was Waitwell in Way of the World with me. He and I both did the reading, and we were invited to dress towards our character with whatever we had in our houses. So I was playing the young wife of a vicar, who had kind of led a debaucherous teenage life, and now,
Oh,
but
scandal.
now in her late 20s had kind of like settled down into being a housewife, and so I wore one of my favorite kind of 30s cut dresses, and like little pearl earrings. Bryson wore a full-on silk cravat.
Oh, lovely.
So he sort of won the day aesthetically. But it was a really fun. It was a fun thing to do, to kind of dress up for Halloween and have something kind of, eerie and haunting.
Yeah.
Participate in, because it was a murder mystery.
That is good.
But I think, I don't know, like that was my way of celebrating that holiday. I think that 2020 is, for me at least, about reimagining how we can celebrate and do things that we would celebrate and do otherwise.
Right. Absolutely.
Like holidays, like theater.
Yeah. What do holidays look like? What do vacations look like?
Right.
Yeah.
What do band concerts look like?
What do band concerts look like? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far, as like an introvert in particular, I really like most of the outcomes, I think.
Yeah. And there's an opportunity to attend
Mm-hmm.
that are not geographically convenient or feasible.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love that we've been able to put together these casts scattered across the country and countries, which is just super exciting because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do that because we'd have to find some way to get them here and house them and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it's not super practical otherwise, but it's been a fun way, I think, to network different actors and
Yeah,
artists as well.
absolutely. It's so liminal. It's like Schrodinger's. Everything is Schrodinger's, right? There and not. This and not. Um, I'm I'm collaborating with actors on plays. I'm not collaborating with actors on plays. Um, the cast is all together on Zoom. The cast is in 4 countries and they're not together anywhere else. Like everything is real and not. I attend a band
Hmm.
streaming it to my computer. I don't attend the band concert, but I see the band concert, but I don't really see the band concert. And it's just it's so um, it's an either and situation rather
Yeah,
than either or.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, I like the and.
mhm.
Mhm.
I was just having a conversation last night with an actor based in Raleigh, and she mentioned that her whole adult life has been about recognizing that either or doesn't really exist. It's kind of always either and.
Hmm. And I don't know if that's something. So Jeremy actually talks like that when he's giving direction or notes as a director, um, which I don't know if you've had an opportunity to do that, but that's something that I've definitely like latched onto is the and this year, I think, rather than a but or an or and.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something refreshing about an and. There's something hopeful about an and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Everybody go tattoo an and on their hand. No,
because
just kidding.
it's a recognition that what you are doing is good.
Hmm.
The and suggests we can add to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better. We don't have to subtract your thing to get something
Mhm.
good. We can take your good thing and we can add to it.
Can build on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is what so many artists have done, not just theater artists, but all kinds of artists during the pandemic have
Yeah.
said, rather than deleting myself, rather than deleting my art, how can I change it, shift it,
Hmm.
and add to it, add ingenuity to it.
You
I've been thinking about character.
love to be an ingenue.
I really do. I've been thinking about character archetypes too much. Ingenuity to it to make it better, or to make it just possible in this
Right.
climate. And I'm excited that now we have sort of a set cocktail hour time, 5 o'clock.
Yes,
On
I'm
5 o'clock
really excited
on
about that.
Mondays, so that
Very excited.
we can get more into the back into the rhythm of
Yeah,
chatting once a week because I've missed it.
I am too. Miss you guys too. I don't see the rest of you, but we miss you. We miss talking at you.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but it was really good to see your face. Thanks for being
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to catch up.
here.
And do you have, for once, a night off without a rehearsal?
I do actually. This week
This
is,
will be the 1 week, and then you'll dive back in.
but you know me, I would always rather be in rehearsal.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm looking forward to Sunday, to starting Man of Mode.
Indeed.
And also just to being in post production for The Rover. Now I get to listen to these actors' voices however many hours a day, every day. So even though they've left the show, they have not left me, and I have not left the show. So
You're surrounded by friends.
I'm surrounded by friends. Actually, our editor, Wesley Johnson, came and attended on Saturday night so he could get a sense of what The Rover is supposed to be, what the arc
Oh, awesome.
is supposed to be. And he, of course, was hearing voices that he recognized from, well, Way of the World predominantly, and a little bit
Yeah.
but mostly Way of the World, because there were a couple Way of the Worlders in Rover. And Wesley told me it was simultaneously really exciting and also uncanny to see the faces
Right.
attached to the voices that have only ever been voices for him. And
Yeah.
in his head, he hadn't realized that he had assigned
A different face.
Yes, a different
Yeah.
face to each voice. And he was like, and then they like started talking. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's petulant. That's what he looks like. You know, I thought he was going to look so different. And so he had that crazy experience of becoming
Yeah.
so familiar with the nuances of our voices, but he had no idea what we looked like.
I
It's
think
not
that's one
like
of
me. He knew what I looked like. He didn't know what any of them looked like.
I think that's one of my favorite things about an audio drama is it lets your imagination kind of go wild and fill in the holes. I've always liked that. Like I was the weird kid who somehow figured out on my little tiny radio that I could get NBC on my radio when I was growing up,
I love
back before we went digital.
Yeah.
It, yeah, so I was listening to things like Law and Order, SVU, and The Office, and like couldn't see them. The Office became very different once I could see it.
Yeah.
It's actually more of a serious drama if you can't see it. Actually,
That makes
that yeah, that and it could have also just been the fact that I was much younger and probably didn't understand half the jokes. Um, but yeah.
Oh, this is so exciting. Then you're primed to listen to Way of the World.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
If you love the radio,
I love it.
that'll be really fun for you. Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear your thoughts.
Yes, yes. I'll have to like start downloading, I guess, so I can like be ready when the last one drops next week. I'll go ahead and start listening because it'll probably take me a while because I'll have to balance that in with my case file that I'm binging. So and I use binging lightly because it takes me like a day to finish an episode, especially when I fall asleep while listening to that guy's Australian voice. That's what podcasts and audio dramas become to me are bedtime stories, and they work like it takes 2 minutes and I'm asleep and then I have to rewind the whole thing. But that's my key to good sleep. Who needs these sleeping pills when you have an audio drama?
I don't know. You may struggle to fall asleep to Lady Wishfort's voice. She's shrill, to say the least.
Yeah, probably not so much. Yeah, that's the one good thing about Case File is he's very like monotone.
And the Australian dialect can be very soothing.
It is very soothing. I was actually really surprised, but yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. It was so good to see your face.
Absolutely. You too. Let's do it again next week.
Do it again next week. Have an awesome rest of your Monday.
You too. Bye, y'all.